Now recording.
All right. Well, welcome everybody to the Wednesday, March 27th, 2024 Aledao Community Call.
Wow. Is this the
Was that
first
energetic
Wednesday?
enough for you?
It was pretty good. Actually, I was really impressed. I think you pronounced Wednesday correctly this time. I don't think I've ever heard that before.
I pronounce it just fine, sir.
Well, you did this time, so kudos.
Oh, boy. Well, let's go ahead and jump right into it, shall we then? I don't have anything to follow that up with.
Nothing that's suitable for recording.
No, yes. Yeah.
Let's jump in here. What do we have to talk about first? Let's talk about FFX because that's like isn't that at the top of everybody's list?
Well, it's definitely top of mind for sure. I mean, especially now that we've got RUSD live.
It's live. My goodness.
Right.
My goodness. The seed event was exciting as they always are. There was and I think that like it didn't close in a minute, which was good news for anybody that completely missed getting in on the first one if they wanted to do that. But the seed event now it's just about done. So obviously as last time, the way it worked was that there was a deposit period open, and anybody who got their deposits in before the deadline, which was hit when we reached 500 ETH, anybody who got their deposits in was kept in the put in the seed vault and earning extra bonus incentives. And all those incentives, things like double points and FXN as well, those are paid out after the 1 week period of seeding finishes, and that actually is tomorrow, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely tomorrow, and so like if so we encourage you to if you want the extra points, just keep your funds there. So
till tomorrow.
Yeah, and then you'll be able to withdraw as a 50-50 of the RDX tokens, or
redeeming back to WEETH.
That's correct. Yeah. So just keep that in
as
mind.
always. And that's again just as a reminder to anybody in there. So when you're in the seed vault, what happened was your ETH was used to mint 50-50 RUSD and XEETH. And because of that, your exposure stayed EETH, although as the price of ETH varies, and as deposits and redemptions happen in the main pool, sometimes those NAVs can change. So you're not guaranteed to perfectly track EETH. But as of the end of the seeding event, you can take either your EETH and you can either take your EETH out again, which is not going to be exactly the same amount you put in, but it will be close, by redeeming your RUSD and your X back into the EETH, or you can withdraw the X and the RUSD for other purposes, including for the RUSD, getting into that into that stability pool and farming some sweet yields.
Yeah, and gosh, let's see here. That and with that, I mean, the yields, if you're looking at them, they you're like, well, it looks kind of low. Well, they have to be harvested first. So folks, just be patient. The rewards are building up in the background. So once
the UI will follow that.
Yeah, exactly. So everything's working just okay, and so you don't have to worry about that. But that's just kind of the way we do things. So
anyhow, so we've got look at that. That's good. So the RUSD stability pool is looking good, and I want to check in on the assets as well. The XEETH currently sitting at the highest equivalent leverage of any of the XETH tokens at just over 2.5x. Just over 2.5x, no funding costs, and so that's, I wouldn't be surprised to see that that drop soon, just because people will kind of start to flood into it as they realize. And interestingly as well, XEETH net asset value already up to $1.06. So a little bit of growth in the ETH price, and a bunch of 6%, not too shabby over a week for no cost. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what's going to be interesting about watching sort of the X tokens over time, is to see how they fluctuate and track with with one another as obviously as the underlying assets, the F and R tokens get minted, and then also it's just adoption of the X tokens and the liquidity of them increases. So just gosh, if somebody, it'd be cool if somebody like spun up a Dune dashboard to kind of like keep track of stuff like that. So I think I'm gonna put that out there in the ether. Just
Oh
more
exactly.
more FX Dune dashboards, please.
Yeah, more dashboards and more especially on the X token, because it's one of those things where you got multiple independent variables on the X token, right? Like, or partially dependent variables, because the equivalent leverage changes both as people mint and redeem, but also as the price of ETH changes. But of course, those are not completely independent, because as the price of ETH changes, like the price of ETH drops, and the leverage goes up, it incites people to sort of mint more, which, so it's not trivial to sort of intuit how the leverage and the NAV are likely to evolve over time. Really, I think the only way to get a sense of it is to just let it go and then look at the historical data. So I second the X ETH variance dashboard request.
All right, community, you know what to do. Let's do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But, we've done all we can do.
That's right.
Literally all we can do.
Make our wish to the genie.
Just kind of flap our gums.
Well, just kind of speaking about, kind of looking at assets and ways to earn on them. The stability pools are up on Convex for RUSD. So, go check those out.
And that's those stability pools. You want to get that boost, right? And so if you want your own boost, you got to track down some FXN and lock it. But boost sharing services from Convex are a great option for if you don't have quite enough, put it that way.
Yeah.
And who really among us has enough FXN?
Well, I believe CryptoVestor has succinctly stated that no one does.
I thought you were going to say crypto.
No one has enough FXN. That is just fact. I will keep repeating that over and over and over until I'm blue in my face.
I mean, you mean after you've got as much as you can get, then.
Yeah. First, let me buy as much as possible, and then I'll tell everybody.
Exactly. I'll just.
He's playing 4D chess over there, folks.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen it on Star Trek. It looks very complicated.
Oh boy. Okay. So our next item is that mint fees for FXUSD are now at 0.
0 fee minting FXUSD. That is very, very cool. This is now. Listen, I say very cool like it's some kind of innovation. This is a part of the ongoing process of getting this machine like perfectly configured. But one of the things that we're sort of one of the theories that we're operating under right now, based on good solid community feedback, especially on larger mints, is that that fee, small as it was, could have been an impediment. And so we're looking to just optimize the overall system. And this is one of the optimizations that I love the most, because it just makes it so much. It's like an optimization in the increasing user friendliness way.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kevin.
No. You please.
I was just going to say that that I think that when we were doing everything with the new curve pools, and we realized that they were obviously imbalanced. I mean, if you had a choice between minting PYUSD or FXUSD, PYUSD is basically free. Yeah. So it makes sense that there would be an obvious imbalance there. So now with this next bribe rounds, hopefully we'll see people choose FXUSD, and hopefully those pools will start to balance out.
Yeah. I mean, it's just we're sort of in that goofy growth phase where you're trying to kind of like sort of manage how things like you said, like the imbalance of the pools and whatnot. And so it makes a lot of sense to like, if we have this lever to pull, we should pull it, and it just makes a lot of sense. And so
and I tend to think of these things like we have a pretty complex system here, right? Like you've got our underlying system is not overly complex, but once you start factoring in all of the ways in which it sort of like the Lego aspects, right? The ways in which we're interacting with all of the other protocols. We've got different sort of shared pools, and then there's, boost services, and the system as a whole is relatively complex. And so, we have a very small number of levers to turn. Like we shot most of our shot in the like actual design of the protocol, the underlying mechanism. That's where sort of like the majority of the magic is. And with that sort of deployed, now you've got basically parameters that are just what I think of as knobs to adjust. And the idea is you want to adjust the knobs in such a way that optimizes the performance of like the whole overall system, right? And it's sometimes hard to know exactly which knob is going to have the like which effect on the big like the large scale system. But we've done this many times with many protocols, kind of making adjustments here and there to the things we can adjust, which in often cases is just sort of like, fees and percentages of, things like that. And so they're not always like sometimes fees need to like increase on a certain thing in order to make a system function better overall, and we've seen that before too. And so I'm just kind of excited that the knob that we're turning here is also one that is like pretty awesome just on the surface of it. That makes a pretty intuitive amount of a pretty intuitive sense, and it also just makes it that much more sort of smoother and more frictionless. So very cool. Zero fee USD. Let's meme it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Next thing we have here is we've got a couple new gauges to vote on. We've got FXRUSD and ALUSD FXUSD. So that's obviously everybody knows RUSD, and so this is going to be like this is sort of like the end all be all pool, right? I mean, FXUSD is basically going to act as sort of like a router, right? For if you hold RUSD, you'll be able to get any of the other tokens pretty easily through Curve, like Go or Grai or PYUSD or something like that. And then
and it gets us into like aggregators immediately when you have that offering. I'm not actually sure. I mean, Cyril might be able to tell us, but I don't think that RUSD integrations have happened in aggregators yet. I think it's still too new.
Yeah, not yet, but it's incoming very soon. They many solvers told me it should be live this week. So I've just followed up today, so it should be coming very soon.
Very cool.
He is on the spot.
Yeah, I mean, we wouldn't even have a job, K-Mets, if if not for if he was just a little tiny bit faster, we would have nothing to say at all, because it would just everything would already be done.
I'd love it to be true.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Cyril.
No, I just said I'd love it to be true. That's all.
I was going to mention that we also have one more pool that we're talking to with MIM. So that'll we have a call tomorrow. Cool. So maybe one more pool coming as well. And then I do have a relationship that's starting up now with USD Zero. I think it's a zero. It's the usual stable coin. There's supposed to be a tier 1 stable coin that's coming up. Something similar to like, I don't want to say Athena or maybe PYUSD, but they're backed by tokenized treasuries, and they've asked us to help them with their curve, with their curve strategies. And I'm going to be mentioning FXUSD as a pair because, and also as an incentive utility for them because to try and grow some liquidity for them.
Yeah.
Isn't it Euro stablecoin they're building? Because I believe the team is French. And
yes, they are French, so you should be able to get really along with them real soon. We had a call with them about a week ago, and they seem really nice guys. I think they're going to be good. I think they're going to be big. They said that they're going to have $75 million of TVL on day one, and they're working with VCs. They're working with market makers. They've got their stuff going. I mean, they're going to be big.
Yeah, I think so. And one of the founders used to be French government, so he should have pretty good connections.
Who is that, by the way? Because I spoke to 3 people.
Is it
is that Pierre?
Sorry?
Was that Pierre, or I just don't know? I spoke to three people on the call.
Yeah, that's Pierre, I believe. Yeah.
Pierre, okay, yeah, he's super nice guy, and I really think it's going to go somewhere, and I'd like to get a pair with FXUSD. And then there are some other things that I'm working on, but it's a little too early for me to say because I can't. It's just it may not happen, and I don't want to say something and then it doesn't happen. So maybe on the next call I'll bring
It's
it
the
up.
teasing stage, and that
It's the teasing stage.
we love teasing. We have teasing on our list. Even we've got teasing. We've got some teasing coming up.
I'm so stunned by CryptoVestor holding back on alpha. That is so.
I only hold back on the really, really crazy alpha.
Yeah, exactly.
Been meditating before the call to make sure.
Yeah.
That sounds good. Well, I mean, sounds like, boy, the we've got irons, we've got fires. The two are together. I mean, it's. And what's interesting too, and maybe interesting about this idea of bringing in, new stablecoin players is that you're looking at, like, it was true with PayPal to a certain extent as well. But when you have a new entrant coming in and kind of like surveying the landscape, I think that those types of players are a lot more open to sort of considering all options as opposed to, entrenched incumbents who have their way of doing things, and there's a certain amount of inertia involved in that, and also a certain amount of overhead involved in making any changes, right? So going in and saying like, hey, we have this way for you to build on-chain liquidity that is like vastly more efficient and like basically all around better than anything that's available right now. It's a strong pitch. I think it's stronger to people who are looking to set their first strategy.
Yeah, well, especially when the first round of the vote incentives went so swimmingly well for some of these as well, like for Aave and for Trident, and you can tell that all of a sudden, when you put in $20,000 and you get $2.5 million worth of liquidity, like that's eye popping.
Yeah,
it makes people sit up and take attention.
Yeah, well,
yeah, and
I
I
mean,
sure. I've made sure people really are aware of that when we're talking to other partners, because that's what gets people in the door. They're like, "Oh my goodness, like how did that happen?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, you guys really need to look at FXN incentives."
Yeah,
so,
and it's purely just at this point in time, it is purely just what do they call that? Information asymmetry. So
yeah, basically, yeah.
So it after a little while, people more and more players start to realize what's available. And it's our job to speed that process up.
What's interesting? I find that all these other, like most of the stablecoin providers are really keen on it because they understand the whole bribe game really well. But when we talk to like Renzo or Puffer or even EtherFi, like they're not really, it's not their thing. I guess they're just so used to like the whole points thing, and they don't understand. Like I try to explain to them, like, you realize it's a 6 to 10x like return on your dollar, right? And they still don't bite because I don't know if they really understand what that means.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to say it in any other way. Like I could tell them in Spanish, but I don't think that will help. So it's like, what do you want me to tell you? You're going to get free money in your pool. But at some point you have to back off and let them just kind of learn on their own, and they'll eventually discover it.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting, as you say, because this mechanism, it's new enough and it's unusual enough that like you're a second layer removed from the idea of building liquidity through like liquidity pool bribing, right? Like you kind of have to understand how that works in order to see why this is superior to that, right? As this mechanism to do this thing that people really need to do. Like this message of for the builder of the asset, for the builder of the reserve assets, right? There's a message I think that's just not penetrating well. That is, your assets they're basically tucked away, right? Like assets in a swap pool are for sale, right? They're for sale right now, and half of that pool is not you, right? When you have the layer of stable and levered on top of your reserve, there's a whole world that happens without ever diving into the reserve, right? Between the stable and the levered side. Like there's all kinds of stuff that is happening there, and demand that is independent of ever needing to touch your reserve token, right? Your reserve token sits in that, well, like it's in the reserve, just doing its thing, generating, like being on chain, generating its yields and everything else, but like providing utility it's providing utility that doesn't require the like on-chain sale of the token itself, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's kind of interesting, just sort of like when we talk about sort of like I mean I know Token Bryce had his article that he wrote about sort of the differences between Curve and Velodrome, and sort of talking about why Velodrome is superior than Curve and whatnot, and it's kind of one of those deals where the information asymmetry is so crazy in this space that like that's Uniswap's the most popular DEX, and I think everyone on this call is like, oh no, that's just it's a a terrible way to like incentivize liquidity and whatnot, and yet it's still humongous, right? And so it's just it's I feel like the time cycles of DeFi versus the time cycles of sort of like education and adoption just do not sync up very well together. And so that's just something we'll just have to like keep hammering home. And eventually, like the money will speak for itself, right? I mean, the market will eventually right size everything.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what we're waiting. That's kind of the real the invisible hand of the market is the thing that is going to make the real changes.
Yeah,
what we could consider would be like a new metaphor, because it just came to my mind that locking away tokens in a reserve, there's a lot of parallels there between like electron conduction bands in a semiconductor material, and how you can have like different levels of electron mobility depending on which band the electron is in. And so that's really that might really help to connect with a lot of people, just like a real concrete kind of example.
Yeah, why don't you go work on that? And
okay, yeah, that's a good.
We'll
I
give
will.
you some feedback on it. So
okay, cool. Man, yeah, that's exciting. I'm gonna make some notes and get this thing going.
Okay, well, back to coffee talk. Okay, we'll keep moving forward here, but yeah, so that's the gauge votes start tonight. So keep your eyes on that, folks. On Vodium.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the incentives will start to roll in. I mean, it was a ton of fun last week. But what we're going to see this week maybe are some adjustments. We're hearing a little bit of the whispers on the breeze that a few players are particularly the ones I think that saw a pretty good return. And like which was everybody. The ones who participated last week, I think, learned some important lessons, and I think some are coming in even a little bit more aggressive this week, but we'll see.
Yeah. So there's obviously Vodium's one, and then StakeDAO as well for SDFXN and VEFXN, and then Paladin. I encourage folks to go and kind of take a look at Paladin. And start to kind of learn about it. It's a really interesting model. So it's for VEFXN and VLCVX holders as well, and
both,
and so I know that if voting with VLCVX is more efficient, then Clever will obviously start to integrate that as well. So
which I think is just a matter of time.
Yeah, so just keep your eyes open, and go and educate yourself on these things, because I voted for with Paladin last week, and it was a really good experience. A little bit of a learning curve, but that is the same with everything new. But man, it paid out pretty well. So
and in the end, isn't that the real truth? The answer is no. Sorry, just trying to square peg into a round hole, a Simpsons quote, and didn't work. So we'll just move along.
We'll move along. Okay.
Leonard Nimoy, though, right?
One other thing just to mention is Prisma's price action has been kind of low. And so I suspect that there's going to be a lot of emissions that would be, or a lot of bribes that would be spent on Prisma that might move over to FXN.
Oh,
so
maybe an opportunity there to...
Yeah, maybe an opportunity. I don't know if a lot of people are watching that, but it would make sense that if there's, a contraction in the Prisma price, that that they would probably want to, incentivize more on the FXN side.
Well, I
So-
mean, really, what the question then is how much of the Prisma incentives that are going out are organic versus how much are like BD partnerships that are less price sensitive.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. That's interesting. We'll have to see that.
We will have to see. Yeah, exactly. No way to know really from the outside
No way to know.
until we see. But yeah, I mean, it's a good point that might want to make sure that all those price sensitive participants understand that there's a new player in town.
Yeah. Yeah. So it should be an interesting round. I mean, last round was 60,000 plus. I mean, that's a pretty amazing first round.
Yeah.
Like I think it took Prisma like, I don't know, 5 rounds to get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
So we're really ahead of the game there. So it should be interesting to watch, especially as FXM price keeps moving up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go, gang. So 000 UTC tonight. So it'll start kicking off. So keep your eyes peeled and get your strategy ready. And then let's see the next item. So A Team is actually going to be interviewing Nexus Mutual today. And
Wait a minute. Why would they be doing that?
well, because Nexus Mutual is now offering cover protection for FX products. And if you don't know what that means, you're in good company because I'm going to learn as well what cover protection for FX products is. Cyril, do you want to can you jump on real quick and kind of let us know
sure.
what the deal is there?
Yeah. So yeah, basically, I don't want to spoil the tonight's space, but basically, Nexus Mutual is kind of a DeFi insurance, and they cover both FX protocol, but also the whole strategy if you stake into Convex, Curve, and so on, and especially with the Go pool, because that's thanks to the Go partnership we got this integration. So we can be very grateful with Token Logic who made this possible. And yeah, that's it. And
so on a scale of 1 to 10, just how stoked should I be? Just so I have a sense.
I'd say about 15.
Okay. All right.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. Boy, that is 15 right there.
And I don't know if you guys already are aware of this because it just got shared on Twitter during the space, but there's also a beefy integration of the Go FXUSD pool, which is also covered by Nexus Mutual. So
Is that right? Wow.
Yeah.
Oh man, DeFi Lego at work. I just saw a post about it, and I'm just thinking of a meme to drop on for the retweet. We'll see.
Okay.
Excellent. Well, that'll be coming up at 1800 UTC today, and it'll be on broadcast on YouTube and X, and obviously
And
it'll be
CBS, I
recorded.
believe, right?
On what?
Also on CBS or Fox?
No, we're not on any of those boomer channels.
We don't. Yeah, we're not. Yeah, not on boomer channels. Sorry, boomers.
That's all right. There you go. Yeah, you'll just have to stick with your Bitcoin ETF or whatever it is. Your gold coins.
I thought that they all
whatever.
sold it.
Maybe. Who knows?
I guess you'd have to pay attention to know, and I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Okay, so last breeze through thing we've got. I say breeze through thing. Last item on the FFX agenda, which is kind of FFX and everything else. Ongoing discussions on booster program revamp are happening both on the forum and offline in Discord. So those are continuing. Look for a snapshot vote soon, just to kind of get the ball rolling on something for like an immediate change. But that is an ongoing discussion, and as always, looking for thoughts and feedback. Leave it in the forum. Jump into the Discord, and you'll find somebody to kibitz with. Is that? I'm probably using that wrong, DeFi advisor.
Well, at any rate, big thanks to Tao for getting the ball rolling and for putting that out there. And I think he's got a lot of good ideas, and looking forward to kind of seeing how those develop and materialize. And yeah, so go read up and check up on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh,
Clever.
Clever, yeah. So Clever, pretty much all systems nominal, right? It does what it does, and Clever has caught the attention of some folks in the DeFi world, and so keep your eyes on the Discord announcement over the next couple weeks here in the Aladdin, because we will have some exciting news to deliver to you guys. That if you've been wondering, well, is anything going to happen with Clever soon? The answer is yes, and in a big way. So I can't. That's all I can really say about it now. But yeah, it's worth the wait. I'll say that. So anyway, so that's Clever. So
Did I not say we had some teasing? We had some teasing.
That's as teasing full as I can get right
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
So,
exactly. Yeah, you don't want to get your hand slapped for too much alpha leaking.
No.
Soon, I think, DeFi Advisor. I think I checked the calendar and it is on the 16th day of soon. So
yeah, there you go. That's right.
All
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, I've lost my agenda. I'm lost.
Oh, dear.
I can't. Oh boy. All right. I gotta go, folks. This is. Oh, I'm back. I'm back. I found it.
Oh, we lit a prayer candle for you there.
Yeah. Thanks, buddy.
So,
I have tab related issues.
okay.
So Clever is good.
Is that all? Is that the whole
Well, I
problem?
mean, that's one of my issues. Concentrator, K-Mets, rolling, everything looking good on Concentrator. Nothing to report there. As always, check it out. Concentrator is it's stalwart, isn't it? Like that's.
I tell you what, I actually, I looked at the fees again for this week, and they're pretty high again. I mean,
Yeah.
pretty good. So, I mean, whatever they're doing over there with CVX, CRV, and all that, they need to keep doing it because
I just roll over there and just watch the number go up. That's what I do. I watch the number go up, and actually, it's one of the nice benefits. I mean, is kind of tangential to the one of the benefits of farming a different token than you hold is that it makes your yields stand out, right? Like one of the things, especially when I was new in DeFi, I always found like an auto compounding vault. You'd be like, oh great, I'm earning 42,000% interest on this on this token whose price changes by 42,000% every day anyway. And so it was impossible to tell, unless you're trying to denominate in the token itself, but if you're trying to denominate in a reasonable currency like ETH or even dollars, having the auto compounding sell back into the underlying token makes it really tough to actually sort of see the yield and enjoy the fact that your assets are growing because the price of them is jumping around so much, right? And it kind of obscures all that. So the nice thing about farming volatile assets with our approach is that those volatile assets are piped into a really visible, obvious sort of pool of growing curve. And every time I go back to Concentrator, I'm like, man, I don't remember having this much A curve. This is great.
I tell you what, so DeFi Advisor asked, okay, win synergies with FX. Kruger, can you check the calendar and tell us when that'll be?
I believe that is also that's like a few days after soon.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Maybe even before soon. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see.
My calendar is very vague.
The ecosystem will keep growing, folks. It's just going to keep growing. So
you can bet on it. And we have.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Mm.
Let's see.
So let's wind it up with Aladdin. Just to remind everybody about that Nexus Mutual interview today. Check that out for sure, because this is a big step, I think, towards. I mean, it's a 15, as Cyril told us. Having that coverage. I mean, it opens up possibilities for players that maybe wouldn't have even looked at it before.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
grow the market, grow the pie, as they say.
Yeah. I'm excited to see how that gets integrated into DeFi and how we can all take advantage of it. And then on top of that, A-Team funding renewal is up on Snapshot. So if you like the A team and you think we're doing a good job, and you want to keep us around for another 6 months, it'd be just really cool if you would go and vote on that snapshot. So and vote your conscience. I'm not telling you which way to vote, but well, obviously I am. But,
I mean, you are pretty clearly, but I think
but
you're
vote
allowed
your
to do that.
conscience. Yeah,
You're allowed
yeah.
to do that. You're allowed to lobby for your position. Just as us voters are allowed to be critical and scratch our chins and say, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna
No,
vote
you're
for
not
you
allowed
guys.
to be critical. You have to vote for us. So
Okay.
anyway, so
maybe I'll send some DMs and see what my votes are worth, if there's any incentives on the table.
see this man, he knows how to play the game, right?
Or at least you would think so if he hadn't just said that out loud.
Yeah, exactly. But we'd appreciate you guys going and taking a peek at that. So it's up in the A team announcements on Discord if you need the quick link, so you can go and grab that there. So
Yes, yeah, check it out, and that's it. And holy cow, K-Meds, it's 10:44. This is like it's
You know what-
for my time. I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
what time it is.
You know what
where
this
you
is?
are.
This is us bankrolling all the times we were late.
Oh, were we paying our time debt back?
Yeah, we're paying our time debt back. The market's ripe for this. You know, we're paying back our Clev time tokens.
Oh man, yeah, exactly. Cyril, if we start talking coffee again, we're gonna blow through the end of this. We're gonna we're gonna go back over again, guaranteed. I only like.
Charlene wants a K-Mets market update.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, K-Mets, how's the market looking? Should I be buying or?
You know, here's man, I'm zero prepared for this. I have no charts. I could tell you, I haven't been paying as much attention to the macro charts very much, mainly just because crypto's been so much more interesting lately. You know, as I kind of sit here and look, I know Japan finally eliminated their basically their ZIRP policy, their zero interest rate policy, and are actually going to start raising interest rates on their basically their Fed funds rate. And so that sort of has had some ripples in the macro markets as well. So something to kind of keep an eye on is just kind of things like that. The Fed has sort of kind of pivoted. I wouldn't say pivoted, but has mainly kind of started talking a little bit more like they're going to stop selling assets off their balance sheet. They're going to start tapering that. So that's kind of something to kind of keep your eyes on. Sort of the Fed is kind of looking into the future and kind of, you know, seeing where the market lies and kind of like what the general economy is sort of looking like. So they're kind of showing their cards a little bit that they kind of want to take their foot off the gas of the tightening, but we'll see. It kind of remains to be seen. Sort of, you know, everything the Fed does is sort of geared off of like unemployment and inflation, and it's looking like it's getting really hard to kind of tackle this inflation issue. So we'll kind of see how that reverberates through the markets. But as far as like crypto goes, you know, the big thing right now is just sort of the ETFs and the outflows from the GBTC
Trust.
fund. Yeah, the GBTC. I guess it's an ETF now, but
Oh right, yeah.
so that's, you know, I think I checked yesterday, and there's quite a bit of GBTC. I mean, they have like something like 350,000 Bitcoin, and they're the reason they are selling off is because their fees are an order of magnitude higher than every other ETF, and so people much prefer getting, you know, selling GBTC and then going into one of the other ETFs. Or you know, selling and just getting out of GBTC. So you're seeing a lot of outflows from them, but I think sort of based on the flows, they, you know, they would basically be empty if what you did yesterday would get them. They would be completely empty in like 3 months of selling, or roughly they're about 3-4 months. But so any sort of sell pressure from that, you know, will be alleviated probably about halfway through this year, and then from there on, it's just kind of like, if the ETFs keep buying like they are, there could be potentially some real fireworks in that regard. So that's
Now,
kind of where
Ghost wants
that
to
is.
know. Ghost wants to know when you spoke to Gary. What did he tell you about the ETH ETFs? May?
Yeah, sure. Why not? I mean, I think with the ETH ETFs, I think we all saw that, or maybe we didn't all see, but BlackRock has now put $100 million of funds onto the Ethereum blockchain now. In this, it's called, I guess you call it Build, but they use like the goofy crypto spelling of BUIDL. But there's $100 million that they have put on there. That is a tremendous signal that BlackRock is on board with DeFi, because
We call that the BlackRock toe dip, but in fact,
it's huge, right?
it's huge. It's a big toe.
Yeah, and so all these leanings in terms of sort of like when these things sort of happen, these are all like political signals, right? And so the SEC, the Fed, the Secretary of the Treasury, all these things are politically driven and are all about like sending signals to one another and whatnot. And for BlackRock, for Larry Fink to put $100 million into directly on the Ethereum blockchain, which is, hey, listen, he didn't have to do that. He could have put it onto JP Morgan's blockchain, which is Onx. I believe it's called Onx, and they have their own internal private blockchain, but they did it on Ethereum, which is like a huge signal. So
that's a big, yeah.
So the ETFs are coming for ETH. It's just a matter of is it going to be May or is it going to be August? And I would guess that since BlackRock did that, everybody can sort of take an educated guess. But yeah, once the ETH ETF comes, then that's going to be very interesting, because Grayscale does not have as much ETH in their GETH fund to kind of like put sell pressure into the market. So will be interesting to see how that all flows. So there's your improvised market update, everyone.
That was pretty impressive, K-Mets, I have to say. I mean, it might have all been bullshit. I would have no way to fact check you, but
it's been a little bit difficult for me here lately to kind of pay attention to the market, but that's what I sort of have been able to sort of follow along with. So
man, can we also take?
Thank you.
Can I add to your comments?
Sure.
Add to your market update? Yeah, I think, overall, you pointed out two important things happening in the market right now is Japan is finally tightening, right, after 10 years of YCC. And also market is expecting Fed to lower interest rate for 6 times, right, at the beginning of the year to 1 time, or even raise interest rate again this year, right? That's a huge change on liquidity expectation. But, I think we're seeing, the market is really decoupling, right, as we speak. Actually, I think the turning point was really around Bitcoin ETF approval, right? So the market actually is pricing for the fourth technological revolution right now, right? And Bitcoin and NVIDIA, right, as the new Fed. So, I don't really look at the Fed and the TradFi guys anymore, right? And when you have a real technological revolution, right, the old game rules don't matter anymore.
Very cool. Can we also take just a quick minute to appreciate that GIF that I found? Because every now and again you come across a banger, and man, I'm happy with that. I'm going to keep that I'm going to keep that one for later.
Good job, Kruger.
Thanks.
Everybody go pet Kruger real quick.
Oh.
Oh, that's creepy.
We all have our strengths, don't we? Charlene and K-Mets tracking the macro economic winds of change, and Kruger finding hilarious extendable toe gifs. I mean, we all contribute in our own way, don't we?
Very powerful, sir. Very powerful.
Thanks.
Well said. All right. Well, I don't have any more market updates. That is all I got. So yeah.
Well, let's give these people 7 minutes of their Wednesday that they were not expecting to have back. Can I suggest that you go grab a coffee?
There you go. Yeah.
Maybe a
exactly.
Chemex, maybe climb the nearest Costa Rican mountain and see if there are any delectable berries that you can pick.
There you go.
That's
CryptoVestor
All right,
has a full afternoon then.
yeah, that's going to take a little while, guys.
I cannot imagine it would be easy to get up those. I imagine they're pretty
It's not.
pretty dense.
It's very hard, and then if you're going to sun roast them, and
Yeah, you got to dry them and cure them.
I'll have coffee in a month.
Okay. Well, hold on a second. You might be able to do this faster. Do you know of any civet cats in the area?
No. No, I don't.
Oh no.
Oh, it's too bad.
People don't know what that is.
We've taken a
Google
turn
it, friends. Google it. You're gonna love it.
All right. Well, no, I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Take care, guys.
All right. Thanks
All right.
everybody.
Have a
We
great one,
appreciate
guys.
All right. Bye-bye.
Later.
Bye.